My name is Steve James. A lot of you would probably know me from uh, the online broking universe, where I spent a lot of time and with some members of this team rolled out the first online broking platform to the financial services industry, called Virtual Broker back in 1999. And back then, that really revolutionized the industry and changed the life of many financial planners in Australia, and really gave another asset class to the industry. Since then, there's been small developments in technology that have um, assisted the industry in many ways. But I think the adoption of AI is really going to be another one of those game changers that I don't think we've seen since, perhaps online broking, that created such a difference to the industry. And AI is a lot more than just Chat GPT. And over the next few years, we're going to see this revolutionize this and many other industries. But when I came across YBL with Stephen Go, I thought it was just one of those game-changing products that once people get their head around it, are really going to begin to see how AI will change the way they operate their practice, change the way they relate to their clients, and increase efficiencies in ways that we couldn't have thought of 10, 15 years ago. So without further ado, I will pass you on to George, who'll take you through the next step, and we'll have questions at the end if that's okay for everybody.
George, you're on mute.
That would be key. Thanks, everyone. Sorry for that. Just to take you through a quick way this Teams webinar works. You all remain on mute. You can ask at the top of the screen. You'll see a question and answer. You can ask questions and at any point in time through that. But at the end of the meeting, we'll address them. I'll also add, and we'll go through them and answer your questions. We've also got a demonstration which we're running today. We made a decision that we're going to run a video, playing a video that shows the demonstration, just because it's smoother and quicker, and to make sure that we get all our points across. But we're going to be happy if you contact us after this webinar, and we can do a full personal demonstration for you. I think the key points, as Stephen just pointed out, is that YBL is transformation for your business. It's not just a note-taking device like an Otter AI, for example. It is part of your entire workflow, so it can help you with a lot of your critical yet time-consuming tasks that advisors must complete when you're doing a client. Not only from, as I said, doing note-taking, but using the information it has stored about your clients to do your create your pre-meeting agendas and your pre-meeting notes from what it already knows about your clients from past meetings. It can then do note-taking like an Otter AI can do, but then it can organize all that data and put that data into a format that it will automatically transfer that data into existing platforms like Excel for data analysis, Salesforce for your client relationship management, and Xplan for financial planning, so that the AI and YBL will ensure that all the information is accurate and mapped to the appropriate fields, maintaining the integrity, which I think is very important. So it takes out that task of taking the data from your note taking and then putting it into all the various systems that you're using. So this is one of the standout features of YBL, this integration seamlessly into the tools that you're currently using. And so there's no real need to overhaul your existing workflow to learn new software from scratch. The platform's capability with Excel, Salesforce, Xplan, and more, they're just the ones that come off the top of my head, um, you know, is really there to enhance these products that you already use rather than disrupting them. And the data flowing smoothly between YBL and these systems ensures this consistency and reduces the risk of duplication or data loss. Yeah. And beyond this kind of administration automation, YBL also provides advisors with intelligent insights derived from the data it collects on your clients. So it helps you identify trends, flag potential opportunities or risk in a client's plans and portfolios, and also helps suggest recommendations that, personalized recommendations for your client. So it empowers advisors to offer more proactive and tailored advice, I guess, which is only going to help strengthen your trust and client satisfaction. I also just like to quickly point out we're in an industry where compliance and data security are not really negotiable. YBL is built with a robust security protocol. The platform ensures that all client information is encrypted and stored securely. We're SOC 2 compliant, so we adhere to that standard. And we also have a very good audit trail, automation of documentation, and that also helps maintain compliance because of this audit trail and accurate record keeping for your clients. So, in summary, by addressing these pain points like pre-meeting preparation, note taking, post-meeting data entry, YBL, will help freeze up significant amount of time for advisors to be more client focused, which I think is always has been one of the aims that I've heard about in the industry. And this efficiency and all this is going to do is help you serve your client more efficiently and hopefully drive growth in your business. So I'm now going to share the video demonstration we have. And we're going to run that. And then after that, sorry, you can ask questions. And then after that, Andrew is going to talk a little bit, who's an advisor who uses our product, is going to talk a little bit about his experience with YBL. And then we will go for questions and answers. Okay, here we go. Leonard, let me know if I fail.
Okay, thanks guys. So for our session, I'll cover 3 key parts of the client engagement process. First up, we'll look at pre-meeting prep and how you can save a ton of time and effort getting ready for a client meeting. Next, we'll go into the client meeting itself, focusing on how to capture and follow the meeting effectively. This will help us stay organized and have a good record of our client meeting. Finally, we'll talk about what to do after the meeting to ensure you follow up efficiently and keep things moving smoothly. So we're going to kick off with a scenario for Sarah Smith, and she's married to Lawrence. We've had an initial meeting with both Sarah and Lawrence, and at that meeting, they agreed to engage our services. We asked them to send us some information before our next meeting. Sarah has now emailed a couple of her statements, which we have downloaded and is sitting on my desktop today. So as I get into preparing for this, first thing I'm going to do is drop these files directly into this new folder that I've set up for Sarah. Okay, so there's Sarah, and we're in the Sarah Smith folder. I'm just going to drop the files in. So I've got a Asgard Superfund statement, as well as a Plum Super statement. All right, so I've just dropped these files in the folder and it's going to start to process these files. Okay, now I'll quickly talk about our model while it's processing the files. So each client will have its own folder. You can see on the left-hand side, this one's for Sarah Smith, and everything you're going to do with Sarah Smith is kept in this context. And the great thing about this is that, as we'll show you, this is where all the information is just stored in context so that you can use all the information in real time. Now, as you can see, all of this is uploaded. I've got my Plum, my Asgard is still, oops, I have to process a Plum file. And once it's processed the Plum Superfund, I can run a query across both portfolios. So say, for example, I'm concerned about the current events around the world, and I wanted to know what her current exposure is to global equities. So I can just type in here, what's Sarah percentage allocation to global equities? Now, before I had to create an Excel spreadsheet and create a formula to run the same calculation. Now I can just simply grab a client's latest portfolio statements and drop it into the secure chat interface, and I can quickly get a useful piece of information. So in this case, we've got just under 12%. I'm happy with that, so I'm not going to do anything with that. So another thing I would like to do before I go into my meetings is to check my file notes from my previous meetings with Sarah and Lawrence. And this is where I can query my CRM. In this case, it's the Xplan CRM. So we could get file note summary next plan for Sarah. Sarah Smith. All right. So previously I had to open up Xplan, go into the Sarah Smith folder, go into the file notes section, and then read through a number of file notes just to understand what I've been talking to her and Lawrence about. But now with just a simple prompt, I can retrieve those file notes into the context of this chat. And once it's completed that, I can run a prompt again, summarize file notes for Sarah. So we can see that Sarah and her husband Lawrence were referred to us by an existing client. They came to talk to us about superannuation and insurance. They have 3 kids, and she's going to send through her statements, which she just did. All right, so now we've got everything. I can go ahead and prepare an agenda, and perhaps also share this as an email to Sarah before she comes in. So I can just type in prepare an agenda for a meeting with Sarah. So the AI is looking at all the information I've already collected. So the content of the agenda is based on information that we have in the context of this chat. And that is the document that Sarah has sent in and all the file notes in my CRM. But say I want to use my own structured template instead of the one that's generated by the AI. And say, for example, I just want to create one focused on just looking at her portfolio. So I can say, create a portfolio review agenda. And then what it's going to do here is going to look through my library of templates and find the one that I've got for a portfolio review and regenerate that agenda. And there's my new agenda ready to go. Okay, so if I want to, I can also send this out as an email to Sarah so she knows what we're going to talk about when she comes into the meeting. Send email to Sarah. So we can put in the sidebar her email address and the content of that email. All right. So just to quickly recap, I've now effectively processed documents I've received from my client, got a good summary of my previous contact with my client, ran a calculation which previously I had to run through an Excel spreadsheet and produce an agenda on my own template. What would take me probably 30 minutes to an hour, compressed to 5 odd minutes. Okay, so now let's get on with our meeting with Sarah. She's coming to the office and we sit down with her and we start to have a chat with her. So I'm just going to start a recording now. So I'll just role play with Sarah Smith in the office. Sorry. Thank you, Sarah, for coming in. Just like to confirm some information with you before we proceed with providing you with some advice. So you're born on the 1st of January, 1980. You have 3 kids, Aaron, Bobby, and Deborah. The ages are 3, 7, and 9. You have annual expenses of $100,000 and annual salary of $300,000. You like to go on holidays every year, spending $10,000 on each holiday. You have education expenses for your 3 kids of $1,000 each month. You would like to retire at the age of 65 with annual expenses of $100,000. You have a BHP investment of $500,000 and 2 superannuation funds of roughly $400,000. So now I can stop the meeting, come out of the meeting. So the AI is taking all the information in the conversation in the background and generating a meeting note based on the most appropriate template that I have in my template library. So how does it do that? Well, we have this feature where you can preload your meeting note template and the AI understands from the context of our conversation which is the most appropriate template to use. So as you can see, it's got the summary of the meeting that I've just had. Now, what happens if it's not the template that I want to use? Well, I have an option then to regenerate that meeting note and select the template that I actually wanted to generate on. Simply putting in the command, create meeting note. Okay, and then from here, I can go into my library and select the meeting note I wanted to regenerate on. Okay, now we have completed the second part of our client interaction. I've completed my meeting, got a good summary of our conversation, and into my own structured template. Now, let's look at the third part of our process and what I do after the meeting. So, after the meeting, I like to share that summary with my client via an email, or I can just print it straight off after the meeting and just confirm all the action points with the client. So I can put an instruction in here, create an email to Sarah with action items from our meeting. So what we're doing here is also then having a look at the meeting note where I can also then file it as well. Likewise, I can also update my CRM with the information that I've collected. So it's reading through the PDFs that I've uploaded and the meeting that I've just had with Sarah. So it'll come up with a sidebar for me to review all that information before I then push that into my CRM, which in this case is Xplan. Okay, so you can see it's got expenses, the education expenses, it's got the income, investments. Now in this case, because ASCOT's got a number of platforms under ERAP, I have opportunity here to make sure that I actually get the right one. So in this case, it's this one. Likewise with the Plum Super, Plum Personal Super. Right. Once I'm happy with all that, I can just click on the Proceed button, and then it'll operate my Xplan CRM. It will log in with my credentials and enter all the information for me. Something else that I might want to do is also use the same information and populate other systems that I might be running. So what happens here is that this way my data is consistent across all my systems, as well as saving me time in double or multiple entry. And something else I might do after my meeting could be to fill in an application form with the information that I've collected. So in this case, I will just run a export to either a PDF or a Word document, say in this case, PDF. And then you can browse for the file, which could be a application form. Okay, so now I've finished the last part of my client engagement. Normally this process will take me 20 minutes to an hour plus with the file notes and updating Xplan. I can now follow up on all these actions with the client and kick off the whole process again. And basically that's no different from where I started with the set of actions when I prepared for my meeting. Also, you can type in queries in the chat on any technical questions you may have. For example, you might want to know what is the tax payable on Sarah's income of $300,000, and then we make sure it's in context in Australia. All right. The tax payable, I'll try that again, on $300,000 in Australia. Okay, so it's doing a calculation, it's grabbed the information, it's going to give you an answer, and then at the end, it's going to give you a reference where you can see where it's got that information from. Okay, so in conclusion, the key takeaways from our session is having a client folder where everything you do is kept in memory and in context of what is in the folder. How you can quickly process and query documents using either the AI generated templates or directing it to your own templates, operating your connected systems with consistent data across these and eliminating double or multiple entry, using prompts or instructions to perform your actions. So hopefully this gives you some understanding of the time-saving benefits of using YBL in reducing the time spent on administrative tasks from potentially hours to just minutes. Now, before we throw this open to questions, I'd like to introduce an advisor, Andrew Rowan, who has made extensive use of our app and how he uses YBL in his practice.
Yeah, thanks very much, Leonard, and hello to everybody that's on the session. So my name's Andrew Rowan. I run an advisory business in Ballarat with how many? 4 people in it. In, I guess, November 2022, and I'm not too sure how many other people were excited about the concept of AI, but November 2022 kind of changed my life a little bit. So I jumped straight into the AI stuff, a little bit of a tech geek. I had been, prior to that, just uploading recordings of meetings and uploading the transcripts and the WAV files into the CRM that we use, Xplan, and also uploading our handwritten file notes, typing those out, which, as everyone knows, can be fairly time consuming. Found my way to YBL through a colleague. And through this, I kind of just experimented with a few different or a couple of different applications along the way. So we've sort of evolved the AI journey. What I use it for? Well, it started out really just as a file note taking process. But what I particularly like, as you saw on the screen there with Leonard, when we're doing what we call our 15-minute introductory phone calls, we're getting the prompts on the screen so that we're asking relevant questions, and according to the questions that we ask, the system's thinking about other questions. So you just sort of looking at that screen just help keep the that meeting flowing and covering off on the information you need for that, rather than sitting down and trying to think of what we're going to talk about and writing the note. So I found that to be particularly great, that interaction. The other thing that I particularly love about YBL is the fact that we can create our own file note templates. Now, I've seen some different applications where they just come back with just bullet points. I like a little bit more detail in that, because I want people to be able to look at that later on down the track and have a really good understanding of what went on in the meeting. And also different meeting types. I want to see different information being presented in Explain. So we've tailored our own file notes, which are effectively just Word documents or templates, and load them into the system. It's really easy. It's super easy, and you can keep tweaking and tailoring those. As I said, uploading information to Explain, downloading information from Explain. That's again been another thing that we're kind of jumping into. The other thing that because we've got that interaction with Explain, as we know, typically when we write an SOA, the front of those documents, or at least everyone that I've seen, kind of look a little bit bland. Sally, you're aged X, date of birth such and such, married to Fred, 2 kids, earning this much, just all in bullet points. So I started thinking that what we wanted to try and do was tell a story to the client and use AI to help our clients. I guess see that we've taken. I mean, we all take interest, but what I find with the AI, with this sort of stuff, and having all that information there, is that we can create a story about the client. So we can ask this system to create a little introductory story to go into the advice documents, which, as I said, it's just better than a bland bullet point. We've also then, in our advice documents, we've got a section on the subject matter that we discussed to help us then flow into the scope of advice. So then I have set up 2 separate templates into the system, and then we can drag out some information that we can neatly drop into the SOA that very neatly sets out exactly what we've discussed with the client. And also then I've got a scope template that we can then scope out the advice and drop that into the advice document. I've recently started using it as you just saw, say, querying client portfolios, and in particular portfolios that clients already have, like Leonard was just showing, using it just as an advanced calculator, but also then downloading or uploading into it a portfolio report that we would have generated out of Xplan, and then getting the system to write up some investment commentary, what's detracted to the portfolio, what's benefited the portfolio. Again, just another tool that I find that as an advisor, we spend a huge amount of time writing things for clients. So using these sort of tools saves a considerable amount of time. And obviously, in doing that, and time saving, or having other people in the business be able to do those things, enables us to serve more clients and get greater efficiencies, or at least in my case, spend a day a week playing golf. And the other part is, as Ken, you saw there with what Leonard was doing was, just having this interaction with Copilot sitting there to query it about financial planning questions or about the client. And again, quite often what I'll do is I'll ask it questions. I'll press it a little bit more about things that are the advice components that I want to give to the clients, and get some tailoring of that into the document. The other thing that I'll very quickly say is that my wife develops easy English books for different organisations. So what we've been doing with the AI is getting a whole heap of our jargon and things that we communicate to clients to get it to reproduce that information. I don't know whether people know about the Flesh writing style or readability scores that sit behind Word, but you can, again, using the AI, you can say, okay, can you make this look like a year level 9 can understand what we're talking about, and it'll sort of do that. So that's another thing, just trying to cut out the jargon as we're kind of supposed to be doing. So and again, in the templates, just having templating to be able to write an email. So when a file note template comes out, there's an email at the bottom of it. So we just drop that into our email system. I'm currently not doing sending emails directly out of the system, but again, we're just finding that this thing's changing and evolving, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So look, I don't know how many people have jumped into AI, whether anybody has even seen. I was at a conference last week, and quite an astounding number of advisors haven't even looked at ChatGPT, let alone any other AI applications. So I would encourage everybody here at least to jump in, get your feet wet, and have a go at it. And finally, I love the pricing of this application, because it is really a pay-as-you-go kind of thing. So that can also, in this day and age where costs are going up, help us keep a little bit of control around that. So yeah, that's I guess my story with this application. I'm loving it at the moment. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. As I said, we're now open for questions and answers. If you just want to type them in, that'd be great. I think one of the, if Leonard or Tizzy could, maybe update on what the pricing is for the model, that would be quite interesting, I think, to the advisors.
Yes, George. So in terms of pricing, there is when you register, there's we go by a point system, and there's enough points when you sign up to trial the product, and it's equivalent to about 12 hours, just under 12 hours of recording, and also upload up to over 600 megs of data. And then after that, you just pay per use. You buy it in blocks of 2,000 points, and it's just a top up. So even if you go on holidays, you don't use the app, you still have your points in your credit.
So you get about 12 hours for free at the beginning to trial the product and see if it can help the business. Is that right,
Yes,
Leonard?
that's right. Yes, that's right.
And what other kind of CRM and software like Excel and Word does it link into at the moment?
Yeah. So at the moment,
or planning to link into, soon.
Yeah. So I mean, at the moment, we're connected into the Xplan CRM, and also Salesforce. There's also a mortgage broking software called Sales Tracker. But we also connect out into PDFs, Excel, and Word documents. So the number of integrations is growing by the week. So yeah, we put out release notes once every week or so, and those release notes will let our users know what integrations we've opened up the application to.
Okay, and there's another question on how secure is my data, which is obviously a big talking point these days, Leonard.
Yes, I mean, so we're SOC 2 compliant. All the data is encrypted and stored on a AWS over in Sydney, so it doesn't leave Australia. And I guess just like, unlike ChatGPT, is when you save everything into our environment, it doesn't leak out into something else. So it's quite safe to actually pull in all your client data and just store it inside the YBL application itself.
Okay. I guess if there are no other questions, I think the final one is, and one of the big questions that I hear asked all the time, especially as we were recently at an AI specifically for financial advisor conference is, and what we saw were mainly note takers. How, do you want to just quickly describe again how we differ just from like an Otter AI or another note taking type software that I can see a lot of people have got logged in today onto our webinar? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we have come across a lot of meeting note apps, and that, I think that number is growing. And the key thing is that those apps they're really good at capturing the conversation, transcribing it, providing you with a summary, and then possibly creating a note of that inside a CRM, creating emails. But then that's where it stops. In terms of the YBL app, that data, you can reuse that for application forms. You can use that to update your CRM. In this case, it's Xplan at the moment, but we're looking to increase the number of apps that we can actually populate. So using the same data, you avoid double entry, multi-entry. So way beyond just using as a meeting note app.
Okay. I guess so. As there are no other questions, I just like really to say in conclusion, financial advice is a very competitive environment in reality, and we're seeing that in the margins that financial planners are making from their clients, coming down, and at the same time to counter that, the size of the investable amount a client has to have is increasing. It was very clear from the conference that I was at less than 3 weeks ago about AI and financial planning, that the only way to go is to leverage technology, AI, to enhance productivity. And this, the general theme out of this conference was this is no longer an option. It is, it's just going to happen. Whether you're using ChatGPT or YBL, everyone is beginning to look at enhancing productivity through using AI. I mean, the beauty about YBL is that it offers this comprehensive solution. You don't need, 5 or 6 type of AI systems running. It's a comprehensive solution that not only automates, a lot of the tasks of, and we'll call them mundane tasks of entering data into things like Excel and your CRMs, but it also, enriches the advisor process with a lot of intelligent features. And, it's one of the things I think I got out of Andrew's talk was that, he found it really useful, and he hasn't even begun to explore all the features that YBL offers an advisor. The other beauty about YBL is it is seamless integration with existing systems like Excel, Salesforce, and Xplan. So we're not really, we're not coming in and saying you have to change your legacy systems. It integrates with your legacy systems, and this ensures a very smooth digital transformation and also immediate benefits for your practice. So, all I can do is encourage you to, use your 12 hours that you get free and see if the YBL product can assist with your practices. And also feel free to reach out to us, contact us, and we're more than happy to have a one-on-one discussion with you and see how YBL may be able to help your practices. So thanks everyone for attending, and we look forward to chatting to you in the future. Thanks everyone.